Shalom and welcome to the Sarah Blessing. I am Minister Sarah Abraham Israel coming to you with a message today about tithing. Now, tithing is a principle of God. He is the one who created the tithe. It's a financial principle and it's a spiritual principle, just like the law of gravity. When you drop something, it will hit the ground. The law of tithing is exactly the same thing. It's a law in the earth. No matter who does it, it will work for them every time. So, tithing is when every time you receive income, any kind of income from any source, you honor God by returning to Him. I like to use the word returning to Him instead of paying to Him. You could say you're paying the tithe, but I like to use returning the tithe to Him because everything belongs to God. We simply are the stewards and the managers of the earth, of everything that He gives us. So I like to say we return the tithe to Him. So we honor Him with the first 10% of whatever we receive. We return that 10% back to Him as the tithe, and it's the first 10%, not after you pay everybody else and then you see if you have anything left and then you tithe. No, it's the first off the top before anybody else sees it. You send it to God. That's the tithe. And God has been dealing with me for many years about the tithe, and I got to be honest, there's been times where um I've tithed repeatedly, and then times where I tithed for a while and then I stopped because I let the enemy get in my ear and speak to me and um, get me into fear and stop trusting God financially. I've had times where when I'm tithing, things are working out, and things where I stop tithing and things start to go backwards financially. And things, if you're not tithing, you're opening yourself up to spiritual attacks where things that normally should be working, all of a sudden, they'll stop working if you're not tithing. Things break down. Even unexpectedly, things can start breaking down, and things that worked before normally all the time, they can start breaking down if you stop tithing because it's opening you up to attack from a spiritual attack from every direction if you're not tithing. And your money will start going backwards, and you will start losing money if you are not tithing. So let me get into scripture to explain a little bit more about this. So in Malachi chapter 3, verse 10, it says, "Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it." So God is saying that when you honor Him with the tithe, like we are commanded to do in the Word of God, when you honor Him with that, He will honor you. I have a personal testimony of this. So logically, it seems like when you have a lot of bills to pay, it seems like you would just pay what you can pay, and then at the end of it, see if you have any money left to tithe. It seems like that's the way to do it. That's the way a lot of people approach the tithe when they decide if they're going to pay it or not, or if they think they can pay it or not. That's not what God said to do, though. So I have been deepening my spiritual walk with my Father, with the Lord, and I have decided to trust God in absolutely every area of my life. I told God He has free reign to take control of every area of my life, my whole body, my mind, my thinking, the way I dress, the way I talk, the way I eat, absolutely everything concerning my life. I told Him that He is the Lord over my life. I give Him free reign over everything. So of course, that must include my finances. So I decided to trust God 100% at His word, not kind of hoping and one foot in, one foot out with tithing. No, 100%. Like the kind of trust that I don't care what anybody else does as far as creditors or bills that might come in or things that might not work all of a sudden. I don't care what happens like that. I'm going to do this tithe. The tithe is going to be first no matter what. I don't care what's going on. So I promised the Lord that a few weeks ago, and I have just been I've been completely turned towards God with my finances in every way, absolutely every way. So, what happened today was, of course, I have a lot of things that I'm responsible for financially, and the due dates of the things don't always line up with the dates that I'm ready to pay them. So, what I did was, I did have income that came in, and I said, okay, it's tithe. Tithe is number one. So I did the tithe first, of course, right off the top before I even thought about paying anybody else. Here's what I do: I pay the tithe first. God is first, then me. Not even my creditors next, me. God is first, then me. I'm right after God as far as my money. Then the creditors come and everything else that needs to be paid. That's how I did it. And of course, I sent my tithe off. I worshiped the Lord. I praised Him as I was tithing. Oh, yes. I don't just tithe and just, hope for the best. I pray over that tithe. I worship the Lord. I go in. I praise Him like I'm having a party when I'm giving my tithe. That's how we get down over here. That's what we do. And so that's what I was doing earlier. And I took a nap. I was like, this is done. Like I made some investment decisions, put some money aside, and paid some bills, and I took a nap. Well, one of the things that I'm responsible for paying, I've already been in conversation with this particular biller and talking about when I'm going to pay the full balance of this thing. It's a large balance, and I already had decided that I'm going to pay it a certain way. So this person called me and said, okay, well, how do you want to take care of this? I said, well, okay, this is what I'm going to do today. And the amount I told him for today, I was like, it's going to be a small amount that I'm going to do today, which I did. And I went ahead and took care of that. And as I was explaining this on the phone, the person I was speaking to, I can tell they didn't like the way that I wanted to do it. I said, well, this is the way that's going to work for me. And I said, I'm going to go ahead and do it in increments. I'm going to do one today, another one in a few weeks. And then from there, we'll go from there until the balance is down to zero. And she thought about it for a minute and she said, well, that's not how we normally do it. But she went ahead and went with the plan that I said. And let me tell you why. When you tithe to God, you have the favor of God covering you. This is something they don't normally do. The way that I explain it, they don't normally do it like that. They're like, well, normally we need this amount up front before we can go ahead and make an arrangement. I said, well, this is what's going to work for me and my finances, and this is what I can agree to, and this is how it's going to work for me. And I let her know right there, right then and there, right on Front Street, right up front, putting it all, keeping it all the way real, keeping it all the way 100. I was like, this is how I need to do it. And she had no choice but to agree with what I said because I have the favor of God on me, because I already honored God first. I already honored God first with my tithe. So everything after that has to fall in line with the honor of God. Yes, the favor of God has to be on all the rest of my finances because I honored God first. So even though she didn't really want to agree to what I said, she had to, because the favor of God is now covering my finances. So I went ahead and did that. I released that payment to them, like I said, the exact amount, and went ahead and got me some groceries, and I went on with my day and enjoyed myself, and I enjoyed the meal that I made when I got my groceries. I have just been having a very good time today, just enjoying myself. But the tithe is holy and it belongs to God. So when we honor God first with what belongs to Him, which is really all of our money belongs to Him, all of it. He could have been like, give me 90% and see if you can live off 10%. But He didn't say that. He's a very loving and merciful and gracious God. So He said, just give me the first 10, you live off the 90, and I'm going to make everything in between work for you. And He does. He really does make that work. Because what happens is, people who normally don't do certain arrangements or agreements, they'll start doing them after you tithe. You release that tithe first and then call people and make arrangements. God is first. Put His money first. After that, you can make agreements and arrangements with everybody else. They'll fall in line. They will. And God said to prove Him in the tithe. That's the one thing that He says, that you can prove Him, you can test Him, you can take Him at His word. Because when you tithe, when you honor Him with money, He will honor you. Not only will favor come towards you, but you can expect a financial harvest to come in, because When you tithe, it's financial seed. You're planting seed into the earth. That financial seed will grow as a harvest, just as you plant a seed in soil. That tithe will produce a financial harvest. And you might be struggling right now, but if a few months after tithing, you're not going to be struggling anymore, because you're going to be receiving a harvest from all of the tithes that you're paying, all the tithes that you're returning to the Lord. So I just want to encourage you to, if you're not tithing right now, start tithing. Read in the Bible every place where God talks about seed, time, and harvest, where he talks about tithing, where he talks about honoring him with your increase, with your money, all of that. And you can believe God. You can take him at his word. He is the one person that you can trust 100% of the time, all the time. The only reason, if you're not tithing right now, the only reason that you're not tithing is because of fear. The enemy speaks to us by throwing situations, bills, problems, lack, stress, lack of a job, your job ending. He'll throw even sickness, anything that he can throw at you to try to get you to doubt God, or to back off of your faith, or to even stop believing God. He will try to do that to keep you from tithing, because tithing is a very powerful financial principle. When you tithe, your life will be blessed in so many ways, not just your money. Your money will be blessed for sure, but you will be blessed in so many ways just from tithing. And the enemy knows that, so he does not want you to tithe. So definitely get in. If you're not tithing right now, get into it, because your life will be blessed. If you want to know if your money is blessed or not, think about what you do with your money first when you get it. If you're not first paying your tithe to God, your money is not blessed. You're either blessed or you're cursed. There's no middle. You're either blessed or cursed. There's no middle. So if you're tithing, you're blessed and your money is blessed. If you're not tithing, you're not blessed and your money is not blessed. But you can fix that by starting to tithe. Now, if you want to sow into this message, or give an offering, or partner with this ministry at the Sarah Blessing, you can do that. I will leave my contact information for donations in the description of this video. And if you have any questions about tithing, how to do it, anything like that, you feel free to message me or email me. That information will be there also. And until next time, be blessed, stay encouraged, and start tithing. If you're already tithing, keep tithing. If you haven't tithed already, start tithing. And you will become blessed, and you will be blessed to be a blessing. And that's how we do at the Sarah Blessing. Shalom. Until next time.